Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Succeed Without Selling Salon. Today, I am thrilled to have Kat Ramirez join me. I met Kat a couple weeks ago through LinkedIn. You know, we connected and then said, hey, let's have a chat. Let's get to know each other like the way you're supposed to do it. It was really great. We had a great conversation, and I just love the things that she had to share about marketing and SEO and just all these things. And she's a lot like me, real matter of fact. So I asked her to join me and have a conversation about those things. So welcome, Kat.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Diane. I'm so excited to be here with you.
I am thrilled to have you here with me. And I would really like to talk about SEO because I
Okay.
think SEO is one of those mystery things that no small business understands unless they're in the marketing space, right? And so it frustrates them because they can't figure out if they're getting the right story.
Right.
So
Right. Okay,
tell
sure. Absolutely. So first let me just define what SEO is because a lot of people hear the word but they don't know it. Search engine optimization. So it's just an acronym for search engine optimization. And basically what you're trying to do is optimize your website to or social media, and quite frankly anything can be optimized, but you're trying to optimize it so that you come up in search for either certain keywords for your name, your business name, and then again, the core competency of your business, right? That's what you want. Now, the thing that a lot of businesses don't understand is, especially if they're new or they change their website a lot, is you can really compromise your SEO. So let's talk about new. If you're new and you never set up your SEO, then you're not setting up the foundation. I like to talk about it like a house, like you're building a house. You're not setting up that foundation that your house is built on, right? So you need that strong foundation. That's what SEO is. It's really building those building blocks of, you know, who you are, what are those keywords, what are your core competencies, so that if someone does search you, those meta tags, those meta descriptions really put out there who you are and what you do and how to get a hold of you. Okay. Now,
uh-huh.
if you are someone and you do change your website a lot, meaning you go from, let's be hypothetical because this happens a lot and I don't think people understand that they're really compromising their SEO. If you go from like WordPress and then to Wix and then to Squarespace, or there's so many, Shopify, and then back over to BigCommerce or something else, every time that you change that, you're compromising your SEO because the SEO is built on all of these links that you have created for every page, right? And so when you change the website to a different platform, that's when we get the 404. Do you remember it?
The
Do you know
dreaded 404. Oh, sure. Yeah.
that means it's lost? Nobody can find it because it's a broken link, and nobody needs broken links, right? So unless you're an expert and you hire someone to fix those 404s to redirect them, then you're safe. Otherwise, the SEO again is a little damaged, and it really hurts you because once if you're putting social media or anything out there, those last forever, right? They're there and they out there
Yeah.
and they exist.
Yes.
you
And
know?
I had this problem, and I didn't even think about it that I had all these things going to the website that I had with the
Yep.
domain that I had, and then, the sub, and then totally changed my website. And even though the domain was directing
Yep.
toward the new one, they weren't the same
Yep.
page
Pages,
names,
names,
right? Yeah.
yes, exactly. And that's where I think people don't understand because they think it's so simple, or somebody convinced them, change your website, go from
Right.
this to this because this is a better platform. At the end of the day, let me just, snub that down.
Do.
Is it doesn't, Google does not have a preference. Google, Bing, or any other search engine doesn't have a preference for the type of website you built on. They
Okay.
they don't have a preference. There is no alliance with WordPress. There is no alliance with Shopify. There is no alliance with Wix, right? None of them. They all have fair game, and they all can have the same SEO. The rules are the same for each website. So it really bugs me and irritates me when people say, "Oh, WordPress is so much better for SEO." No, it's the same as the others. They just have a preference to WordPress because they're comfortable with it. They all function the same. They all have the same rules, okay? And so just keep that in mind that there is no preference on websites
That's
for
right.
good SEO, right? There is none. It's the person who builds a site, are they an expert in SEO, and are they going to, do what they need to do for the SEO to work? The other thing too, and I think we kind of talked about this when we chatted, was organic SEO takes a long, long time to build. That is not instant gratification. You cannot be on page one, after a day, 10 days, 30 days. No, no, those people that are on page one, you know, the Amazon of the world or eBay or whoever, whoever's out there,
Yeah.
they put money and time into that, you know?
Let's talk some about the time into that because I mean, I have so many questions, but what, for small business owners,
Mhm.
what can they be doing with their time
Yep.
to create that consistency,
Yep.
with keywords, whatever it is, so that there gets to be this like drumbeat that they are out there?
Okay. Now, are we still talking SEO, or are we just talking anything in
Yes.
general? Are we
Well,
still
we can
talking?
do anything in general, but I'd like to stay with SEO just for a minute to
Yeah, yeah,
see if
yeah.
there's,
Yep.
some direction we
So
can get.
the best thing to do to keep that consistent SEO working for you and playing in your favor is to do blogs. I don't
Yeah.
care if they're weekly blogs. I don't care if they're bi-weekly or monthly. It's to do blogs. You got to do blogs. And blogs are the number one thing for SEO. The other thing you can do for off-site SEO is buy Google AdWords. You don't have to spend a lot of money to invest in the keywords that are pertaining to your business.
Right.
You just have to just be very diligent, pick very specific keywords that you want to rank, and use that. Now, Google is going to serve the person that, of course, does their Google AdWords properly. So, is Google AdWords easy? Probably not for
Yeah.
everybody, but it is functionable and it's a shortcut to get to page one. And
Okay.
you shouldn't have to pay an arm and a leg for Google AdWords, by the way. I have to again just stump another myth or another thing that really bugs me about SEO. SEO is one of the biggest things that companies take advantage of other companies on
Thank
because
you.
there's no transparency.
Mhm.
They will give you a laundry list of this is what we're going to do, right? And
Yes.
then they don't hold themselves accountable. They just tell you, "Oh, we did that." Okay, and then you're like in mystery land, like, "How do I know? Can you
Right.
show me something?" Or
Right.
sometimes business owners don't even ask, "Can you show me something?" I
Yes.
have a client, I have to say this, I have a client who his old SEO company he fired, right? He fired because they said they were doing 2 blogs. He never saw 1 blog, okay? 2 blogs a month. They were doing social media. He never saw any piece of content on social media, okay? Uh, so so they had this laundry list of things they were doing, and then when they would do performance, proof of performance, all they would do is send him a Word doc that said, "For this word, you're on page this. For this word, you're on this. For this word." Okay, I can come up with a Word doc and tell you you're on number 1 on every page, and that's all they did. And he's an intelligent man, and I said,
Yeah.
"Let's call him Tom." I said, "Tom, I could create a doc like that. Are you gonna believe me that I said you're number 1?" Like, and some of them, they put you on number 2 or 3 because, you can't be a number 1 on every one of them.
Right. Right.
And I said, "Where's the source?" You know?
But this is why I wanted you on here because this is such a huge problem.
It
And
is.
it's
It's
why,
very true.
small businesses either spend way too much money and get nothing for it, or
Yep.
they won't venture at all
Yep.
because they don't know who to trust,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep. 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 Exactly. Exactly. And there's a lot of companies, and I might name one. Okay. There's a lot of companies that say they do SEO. So let's say, because I get a lot of business from Hebrew. So if you Google search Hebrew, they are really, really good at taking people, riding them for their money, and not delivering on anything
Wow,
that they said
really?
they're. Yeah, but it's all automation. It's all automation. It's a call center. It's the typical, typical call center automation. If you buy into that, you're buying into, like, they're used to selling this in one and done. Like, they're going to ride you for as long, and they lock people into long term contracts. So they lock people into 2-year, 1-year contracts.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So whenever someone says, like, I'm always transparent. I always say SEO takes a long time. You're going to look at a year minimum to rank. And if that, you have to keep going, right?
Yeah.
And, for anybody, it should be a very, commit to 6 months. A company should say at least commit to 6. And then after that, it's month to month. But you won't see it until after a year. And if you want out, just give us 30 days and you're out. So nobody should be
Yeah.
like held,
Right.
much. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay, so um but are there ways, are there things that a small business owner should ask for from an SEO company that is that accountability, that is that proof
Yep.
of whatever it is
Yep.
they're doing?
Yep, because there are tools where they can pull the rank.
Okay.
And so if the company is a legit SEO company, they've invested in these tools where it will show the rank, okay,
Okay.
of what page that company is on. And when you pull these tools and you pull the rank, it should have the source, right? It should have the source on there. Okay.
Okay.
Moz is one, MOZ. There's a lot of them out there. You know,
Okay.
should the company themselves buy the tool? No, the SEO person should invest in that tool, and they should be providing that information to you and sourcing it when they give it to you, not type it on a Word doc.
Yeah.
Oh, you're number one.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Because, here's the other thing, SEO companies, and this is something to be leery about, they capitalize on people's ego. Because they
Mhm.
say, hey, Tom, you're on page 5, and your competitor, blah,
Ah,
blah, blah, is on page 1. How do you like them apples? And it's very much selling like Yellow
yeah.
Pages. It's selling like Yellow Pages. That's all it is.
Yeah. Right.
So I always tell businesses, take it with a grain of salt. If you really want to control the keyword search, buy Google AdWords. Be all over it.
I say, wow. See, this is why I wanted you here, because this is what people need to hear about SEO and how to deal with it and what sorts of things to look for from a
Mhm.
company, because
Yes.
no one's telling them this stuff.
No.
Now, here's a weird question.
Yep.
So before, like, if a small business owner is looking for a marketing company and they want them to be able to do SEO,
Yep.
they all say they do.
Right.
But how do you know, how do you differentiate? Like, how do you know if a company really does
Okay. And
know how
that's
to
a
do
great, great, great question. Any company that does SEO legitimately
it?
should be able to pull an analysis, a very deep dive analysis of your current SEO, okay,
Okay.
without even getting access to the back end of your website.
Wow.
Okay. So
Okay.
so again, they invest in these tools. They pull a thorough analysis. It'll tell you where you rank against. You can put, and they should get your top 3 competitors,
Okay. Yeah.
because then they can tell you, where do you rank against your competitors? Where do you rank in the certain keywords? So they can plug in the keywords, and all of this is generated on it's pulling the data from Google, from Bing, and all of this. And it's a software that they purchase so that they can pull this data. So if they are legit, they can pull a very deep dive and send you the report. The report is usually, it's usually about what, 5 to 8 pages, just depends. Okay.
Okay.
Depends on how many
Okay.
pages you have, how much social property you have and what have you, because it really does deep dive into your social properties, your website, a lot of things that come into play for SEO.
Got it. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
See, the little known secrets.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, um, is there any other strong tip that you have for the small
Mhm.
business owners out there who are thinking about their marketing,
Yep,
their,
yep, I do.
what is
Okay.
it?
So, you knew I was gonna come at it.
That's why you're here.
Yes, I do. Okay, so here's the other thing is I have a lot of clients who say, "Oh, I don't want a website." Okay, you're not going to have really strong SEO if you don't control your audience. Google Analytics is a powerful vehicle. It can show you the keywords people are searching you, okay, with the Google
Ah,
Console. So Google Console, remember that name because if the SEO person doesn't know what Google Console is, they're not the right person. It's not a right fit. So don't say to them really fast, "Oh, you're not a right fit." Just down the conversation and escape, right? Down the
yeah,
conversation and escape and find the next person. So Google Console is really, really important because it will show you the keywords people are searching to be on your website. Okay.
yeah,
Um, the other thing is, I don't care if your website's one page. Okay. The thing that you want is you definitely want a website and then you want a blog page because that blog page is what's going to carry that SEO. Okay. So
okay,
if you say, "Hey, I just have a simple business and I don't have a lot of information to put out there." Okay, no worries. Then start blogging because you can educate people. Okay.
right.
And then when you educate, you can backlink, to other things to build that credibility. Backlink is another key word, and backlinking is good. Okay.
Okay.
Backlinks build credibility. So when someone does a SEO analysis, it'll show the backlinks on your website. If you have none, it's going to say you need backlinks on your website. Okay. The other thing is social media and those icons on your website. I see websites that don't have their social media icons on their website. That is good for you. And it's a backlink, it builds credibility. And if you don't have those links and they're not properly
Yeah.
linked to your pages and they're linked to just a generic Facebook, no, 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 that's not how it works. So have social media in place that helps with SEO, but then if those icons should be on your website and they should be linking to your pages. Again, heavy, heavy SEO, that's really great. And then the final thing for SEO is of course reviews. You got to be on public reviews. You got to be all over the place. Google, Yelp, Howls, depends on the industry you're in. Find as
Yeah.
many places to get public reviews. Any place.
Okay.
Any place. There are no like, "Oh, these are the best," most definitely you got to be on Google and Facebook, but there's a lot of them in different industries, right? There's a lot of them. And be, as many public reviews as you can. Don't just dominate one. I have clients that say, "Oh, I only want Google." No, don't just dominate one. Have Yelp, have Facebook, as many as you can. And then the final one is make sure you have public listings. So make sure you do have a listing on Yelp. Make sure you have a listing on, let's say, a chamber site. Let's say it's on any site that has business listings. Free or paid doesn't matter. Free or paid, that is worth every ounce penny that you invest for SEO. Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Jeez. I was taking notes.
Good for you.
I know, right?
I
Because
love it.
not going to remember, but business listings, very
Yes,
interesting.
yeah. So
Yeah.
all of that makes for good SEO. And so when people think about SEO, I think they only think keywords, meta descriptions on the back end of their website. It is
Right.
a parlay of a lot of things. It's moving parts. So when you talk to your SEO expert, if they don't say these moving parts, time to exit that meeting, right? Time to exit
No
that meeting.
kidding.
Find someone else.
Yeah, exactly. Speaking of which, I think they should check you out at your
Oh,
website,
thank
which I put on there because see, this is what right, exactly. Put it there. This is what people need. they know they need to be marketing. They know they need to be in the digital space. They're not afraid to spend the money, but they get jaded, they just get burned from having these experiences where it's just throwing money away and not getting anything
Oh,
for
yeah,
it. So,
absolutely. Yeah, and, SEO companies, especially big ones, the big ones, they love that auto subscription because they know they're not gonna question it. And
right.
again, it's up to the business owner to push back and say, "I want proof of performance. Show me
Yeah.
some stats. Show me what has
Yeah.
grown. Show me where it's taking me." I don't care if that proof of performance is monthly, quarterly, or semi-annually or annually. You gotta ask for proof of performance.
Yeah.
Justify it, right?
Right, right, and don't be afraid to.
Yeah.
And don't believe them if they say, "Well, it can't really
"You're
be
number
quantified."
1."
Yeah.
Or put it on a Word doc, they type it.
Yeah, right,
"Hey, look, you're number
exactly.
1."
Oh my gosh. I want someone to send me a Word doc that says, "I'm number 1, but only if you mean it."
Uh-huh.
Oh my
That
gosh,
that's
Kat, I so
Diane, that's
appreciate
the
this.
cynic in me.
No doubt, I know, but, listen, it's from years of experience and watching,
Right.
right? Watch people get burned. But that's why I wanted you here because I
Uh,
knew it was cut to the chase,
yep,
get rid of the nonsense, not all the fluffy, flowery,
yep, yep,
no, saying nothing sort of thing, that this was going to be, okay,
yes.
this is what you need to know. This is what you can do. And that's really, the value of these sessions is to really give people things that they can do something with. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. I love this, and I love your series, so, I hope this brings absolute value to someone, one person. I'd be thrilled to death.
and it will. And believe me, I mean, it already did to me. So done.
Yay.
But, it will to more people. I really appreciate you spending this time with me. And folks, check her out, connect with her on LinkedIn, Kat Ramirez. You can see she's the real deal. She's awesome and you can't go wrong. So thank
Thank you
you.
so